someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. If nothing in life is worth dying for, when did this begin? Just in the face of this enemy? Or should Moses have told the children of Israel to live in slavery under the Pharaohs? Should Christ have refused the cross? Should the patriots at Concord Bridge have thrown down their guns and refused to fire the shot heard round the world? The martyrs of history...
The CCP is planning a war against the United States. As part of this, the Chinese Communist Party's leaders are planning to draw America into 4 separate wars, and they believe at least one of these needs to be a terrorist organization. Now, what's interesting with the recent attacks by Hamas against Israel is how they correspond to all of this. Now, there are reports that Taliban guns left by the U.S. made their way to terrorists in the Gaza Strip. There were reports that Iran was directly involved in coordinating the attacks behind the scenes. But probably the most important piece with all this is what's being much less discussed, because in June of this year, CCP leader Xi Jinping met personally with Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas, and he announced the establishment of a China-Palestine strategic partnership, which he stated, quote, will be an important milestone in the history of bilateral relations.
Everyone, I'm Clayton here in northern Egypt, not too far from the Israeli border, where Egypt just dropped a bombshell. Is this a huge middle finger to the United States and Israel? Just north of this location is the Israeli border, and now all-out war against Hamas, all-out war against the Gaza Strip. And if you didn't think a world war was possible before with the NATO war in Ukraine, well, get ready. A few hours ago, the Israeli Defense Ministry just announced an invasion and destruction of Gaza. And I'm quoting him now: there will be no electricity, no food, no fuel. We are fighting human animals, and we will act accordingly. We do have reports now showing Hamas using U.S. weapons meant for Ukraine. Imagine how that happens. We send billions of dollars in money and weapons to Ukraine, only for Ukraine to sell them on the black market to Hamas. Warned Israel. They had multiple conversations about it. They admitted this. Egyptian buildings in Cairo have raised the Palestinian flag, just like they've done in Iraq, Syria, Iran, Kuwait, and Libya. Also, I found this to be a stunning admission today from Egypt. Egypt's top intelligence officials saying that Israel totally dropped the ball. They ignored huge warning signs that something big was coming from Hamas in Gaza, and they did nothing to stop it. In other words, Egypt says Israel knew this was coming. They warned Israel. They had multiple conversations about it. They admitted this. Israel has arguably the most sophisticated intelligence service in the world, and yet they purposefully didn't do anything to stop it. Egypt says they knew about it. So if that's true, why would they do that? Why would Israel ignore a potential attack?
You're hearing a lot of lies today about the conflict around Israel and Hamas. Here's 3 things that you need to know. 1, Hamas was founded in 1987, 1988. In their charter, it calls for the extermination not just of all Jews in Israel, but all Jews worldwide. They could not have been clearer about their goals. Thing number 2 you need to know. Israel abandoned the Gaza Strip in 2005. This is not quote-unquote occupied territory. This isn't in Judea and Samaria. These are not settlements. The places that were invaded by Hamas terrorists were in mainline Israel. They have been since 1948. Thing number 3, when you see all of the awful pictures that are going to emerge from Gaza of dead civilians, understand that's because Hamas literally hides all of their weapon caches in populated areas. This is what they do. They themselves are telling members of the Gaza citizenry not to leave. Israel is sending out messages right now via text, via every app they can find, telling people to get out of the area, and Hamas is telling them, I'm not kidding you, they're telling them, stay.
Going. Hold on, get in the line right here, right here. Hey, where are you going? Senegal. We're from Senegal, but where are you going? Right here, they'll pick you up right here. You
Michigan,
can have a seat
Michigan.
here. Huh?
Michigan.
Michigan, you?
Senegal. No, fan de Diop.
St. Louis. St. Louis, you?
New York.
New York, you?
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, you? Thank you.
Columbus, Ohio.
Columbus, Ohio, thank you. Where are you going? New York. Where you going?
Atlanta.
Atlanta, thank you. You? Atlanta? You?
New York.
New York, thank you. You?
Corona, New York.
New York, all right.
Yeah, New York.
New York, Atlanta, New York.
Yeah, New York.
And you stay?
New Jersey.
New Jersey.
California.
California, and you?
New Jersey.
New Jersey. I think have a seat right here. ¿De dónde viene usted? De Perú. ¿A dónde se dirige? ¿A qué estado van?
California.
California. ¿Cómo se sienten? While we're out here, guys, I want to show you guys the stuff that is out here. ¿Dónde vienes? Ecuador. ¿A dónde vas? New Jersey. ¿Y tú? Ecuador. ¿A dónde vas? A New York. I'm just gonna show you guys. Look at this right here that I found right here right now. It's actually just like a little bag. Oh, it has drugs. It's got drugs. Ooh, that shit smells. Not even gonna touch it. Where are you coming from? Synagogue? Where are you going? What state are you going? Sí, por favor. Synagogue. Where are you going? New York, Chicago, California, where? Where are you going? Where? New York? California? Chicago? Where? Ohio? Huh?
New York.
New York. Thank you. Where are you going? You? New York? Thank you. Where are you going, sir?
Atlanta.
Atlanta, Georgia. You, sir?
New York.
Thank you. You?
New York.
Thank you. You?
New York.
Thank you.
New York.
Thank you.
New York.
Thank you.
New York.
Thank you. Thank you.
Man.
U.S. Army combat paratrooper. And this is what I want to say. This is the simple message that we should be sending to Iran. When Iran stands up and they chant death to America, all we need to say is, you first. What message are we sending? What message are we sending when we sit down at the table with the #1 state sponsor of terrorism? What message are we sending when we sit down with a country that is holding 4 Americans hostage? No different from the last time we had a weakling in the White House when we had 53 Americans being held hostage. What message do we send when we create this false narrative about either we sign this piece of paper that just the same meant nothing to Adolf Hitler, it means nothing to the Ayatollahs, or the only other alternative is to go to war? Well, let me tell you something. The United States of America is about victors. The United States of America is about champions. The United States of America does not surrender to a bunch of black-robed, crazed clerics that want to see us destroyed. What does it say about us when we sit down and we sign an agreement with a country like Iran so that they can become an economic power, so that in 5 to 8 years, when the UN arms embargo is taken away, they can become a military power, and then in 10 to 15 years, they will become a nuclear power? But yet we stand up and say we're going to cut our United States Army by 40,000. We have the smallest Marine Corps since World War I, the smallest Navy since 1917, the smallest and the oldest Air Force since we created the modern Air Force. What message does President Obama send to these people over in Iran? It's not the message that was sent to Britain 239 years ago at Lexington Green when we fired the shot that was heard around the world. What message does it say to radical Islamic terrorists when we have people that go and kill our unarmed men and women at recruiting stations, at reserve component stations here in the United States of America, and we can't figure out if the kid was depressed, if the kid was on drugs? Well, hell no, he was a dadgum terrorist. That's what he was. Now, I got to tell you something. I got to hurry up and get off this stage because I got to go to a fundraiser and a Broadway show. What type of commander-in-chief do you have when Americans have lost their lives on our soil? And it's more important to come up here and take in a play than go to Chattanooga, Tennessee and lower the flag half-mast over the White House. It's very simple, ladies and gentlemen. Alexander the Great had a fantastic quote, and he said, "I would not fear an army of lions if they were led by sheep, but I would fear an army of sheep if they were to be led by a lion." This great nation is a nation of lions that is currently being led by the greatest of sheep that we have ever seen in our 239 years of existence. How dare Barack Obama, how dare John Kerry, how dare Valerie Jarrett, or any of these other charlatans that occupy Washington, D.C., surrender this great constitutional republic to the Republic of Iran. Ladies and gentlemen, it was said in December 1775 by Thomas Paine that these are the times that try men's souls, that the sunshine patriot and the summer soldier will shrink from his duties. But to those who will make a stand, those of you that are here in Times Square, you will deserve the love and admiration of all men and women. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not over. You being here sends a message that the United States of America, I don't care who is occupying the White House, we're not surrendering our liberty, our freedom, our way of life. I want President Barack Obama to know one thing. You may say that you have done something that no one else has ever done. You know why no one else has ever done it? Because it's a damn stupid thing that you just did. And if people are upset because of what I'm saying, I really don't care. Because I had a father that stood in World War II. I had an older brother that stood and was wounded at Quai Son. I gave 22 years of my life to make sure that that great beacon of liberty, freedom, and democracy continues to stand. And I have a nephew, I have friends that are still serving on the front lines. And my commitment is to the oath that I took on 31 July 1982 to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and to bear true faith and allegiance to the same. It's not to anybody's historic event. It's not for anyone to have some special exhibit in their presidential library. It's to make sure that the enemies of America and the enemies of Israel are crushed and brought to their knees. God bless you all. God bless America. God bless Israel. Thank you.
What's happening, everyone? This is Coach Sagasta. First and foremost, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for watching those videos, for submitting just a few moments of your precious time watching those videos to calculate the complexity of where we're at today. Folks, I don't normally get on here and urge individuals to get prepared. I'm always very optimistic and always upbeat, always enthusiastic. Folks, if there's any time in our history, to be prepared, this is the moment. This is the moment that each and every single American, red-blooded American patriot really genuinely thinks about the safety of their families, themselves, and others they care for. There are individuals in our own country, we call them sleeper cells, that want nothing but destruction for this nation. And you have to record this in history. But America is not in the prophecy when it comes to biblical history. Just take note of that. Safe regards, be blessed, watch the video, share it with friends and family. I'm out.